Up, we have a theatrical actress, singer, and director in Hamilton.
So please welcome Joanna Aswani.
So, I got kicked out of a bar once. Okay? I just want to put a little emphasis on that. And let this be a cautionary tale because, embarrassingly enough, it was for underage drinking. I was 18. You have to be 19 to drink here. I knew this. I didn't care because, again, I was 18 and I was invincible, obviously. So how that bar works is when you enter, you're greeted by a door person to whom you have to show your student ID. And if you're of the age to consume alcohol, then you have to present proof via a piece of government ID. I'd gone out with a few friends who were legal, and I wasn't. So they marked my hand with an X, so that if I had gone up to the bartender would know to refuse me. For most of the night, I abided by the rules until I didn't. And I got the not-so-wise idea to slip my friends some money to purchase me some drinks. Now, was I afraid of getting into trouble? No. Because again, I was 18 and I was invincible, obviously. Until the firm grip of the door person on my shoulders, escorting me out the bar, told me that I wasn't. I was caught. I mean, you might as well call me Little Miss Bumblebee that night because I was buzzed. On my way out, the door manager recorded my name, my student ID, and told me I was banned for the year. Now, this had to be the worst news because this bar was the spot, like the hangout. It was a place that opened up at 10 a.m. and offered a lunch and dinner menu, events, live shows, and study groups. I was a theater student, so it was known as the place where all the theater students go to hang out. So I'd really just removed a big part of my campus experience by being barred from such a popular place. It was awful. A few months later, my friends convinced me to set up a meeting with the owner of the bar and ask to be removed off the ban list. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. Not only did I manage to remove myself off the ban list, but after a sincere apology, the owner of the bar seemed to like my attitude and my personality so much that he offered me a job to work there for the following semester. Till this day, it remains one of the greatest jobs I've ever had, and one of my coolest conversational pieces, like, "Girl, did you know I got kicked out of a bar and then hired to work there a few months later?" It was a moment in my life where I was able to flip a failed situation into a positive experience. It's inevitable that we will make mistakes, because when you're not performing well, there will always be somebody to sideline you and to put you out the game. So you ask yourself, how am I able to make my shot? How am I able to make my goal, if no one is willing to give me a shot? And that's what I want to talk to you today about, is how can we overcome our failures? So I'm a theatrical actress, director, and singer. So I definitely know a thing or two about missed opportunities and rejection. For every role I don't land, I try to remind myself that someone out there is celebrating because I so graciously bombed my audition. My loss is their gain. Now, do you remember as a child being very rehearsed in your answer for a very popular question, what are you going to be when you're older? And if you're anything like my 7-year-old niece, who was basically born with a tiara on her head and bleeds glitter, you answered, a princess. And if you're a boy, a firefighter, or the president. But then you grew up, and you were too ugly to be a princess, or too honest, compassionate, unbiased, and smart to become president. So you alter your life dreams towards something more attainable yet exciting. No. The odds are against me if I want to fly as an astronaut in outer space. But being a pilot is definitely in my favor. So what happens is somebody comes and crushes those dreams, because somebody will. And for the sake of the argument, what if that person was me? Let's just say that person was me. I mean, like what? I'm not your parent or your teacher. They know you. They believe in you, hopefully. And if that's not disappointing enough, I can back it up with science, which says only 8% of us actually achieve our dreams. So I guess thank you to the other 92% of you for failing on your own. And you will fail. But that's okay, because like I said, 8% of us achieve, and 92% of us fail. So that 8%, they're the weird ones, so far removed from the rest of us. Whereas we're all in this together, failing. So what is failing? How does it occur? And how can we overcome it? Failure is described as the inability to succeed. It occurs when we are unable to meet what is required or expected of us, and we can overcome it in 4 stages: review, acceptance, forgiveness, and redemption. I first have to be honest with myself and acknowledge that, womp, 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 I have failed. Sometimes our initial feelings after failure is feeling shocked or surprised that we performed so poorly or scored lower than we expected. So we begin to analyze our performance to figure out, how did this occur? How did we come up with such a horrible outcome? Let's take the simple example of failing a term paper. You may want to go over your work to see where you went right and where you went wrong. So this is the process of review, where you review your situation, and it should always be the first step you take after receiving a bad result. Because surprisingly enough, sometimes an error was made, and sometimes you were more successful than you thought, but it's somebody else who has failed you. For example, in my grade 11 year, my drama teacher accidentally mixed up my results, my marks, with the marks of another young black student in the class. Now, I immediately knew something was wrong because the marks that were listed were grade levels below the marks I had been receiving all semester. So after I reviewed my results, I was able to point out the errors to my teacher, in which she, of course, fixed them. So first, we have to review our steps, review our results, because failure is not always resolute. Miscommunications do happen, and on the rare occasions, sometimes what is testing us is not designed to make a connection to our unique style of expression. So if the term paper that you failed is a result of your inability to comprehend what was asked of you, then I highly recommend that you explore your options, either redoing that paper or ask to make up for it in other work. Now, if there's no miscommunication and no errors have occurred, then we move on to stage 2, which is acceptance. Accepting that one or more errors of your own have led to this outcome. We usually meet acceptance with a heavy heart, often feeling ashamed or disappointed that we performed so poorly or scored lower than we expected. But we can override those feelings by understanding that nothing we do is a total failure, especially if we tried. And making an attempt is better than making no attempt at all. So we review our results and we accept the outcome, but we're still left with feelings of regret. And regret is a nasty feeling and something that can burden us our entire lives. So that's why stage 3 is so important, which is forgiveness. To forgive yourself and to ask for forgiveness from those you might have hurt along the way. If we don't forgive ourselves, we become paralyzed to our past, and it makes it that much harder for us to move on in the future. I mean, how many of us know somebody that still holds on to the guilt of a past mistake? If we're able to let go of our disappointment and use our time to grow and nurture our talents, we'll put ourselves in a better position for success the second time around, which is a perfect way to introduce the 4th and final step, which is redemption. Easily enough, it's the act of righting your wrongs. You know that saying, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again? Well, don't be afraid to make a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th attempt as you strive for success. Because truly, it's through our trials that we're able to reposition and set the bar higher for ourselves. So to wrap up, I have failed at a lot of things, but I'm a survivor. And surviving failure teaches you that even though you can't reach the top shelf this time, next year, you'll be an inch taller. The beauty of failure is putting yourself in a position where you're on the rebound, where you're able to find your footing and take another shot. I wouldn't have known my strength if failure did not allow me to attempt the things I wasn't sure I could achieve. Because truly, it's through our failures that we're able to build resilience. And resilience is the best armor that you can have against the obstacles that try to knock you down. Thank you guys so much.